listening to the Balancing Act podcast. Here's your hosts, Jamie Wonko and Joe Vitale.
And we are officially recording.
Hello, and welcome to the Balancing Act podcast. My name is Jamie Wonko. I am here with Joseph Vitale. Hello, Joe. How are you?
I love it. So official, Joseph. I love it.
Wow, that's what your name says on the screen.
I know. And my
That's
son
what
is.
we see. We see Joseph Vitale.
That is correct. Spring has sprung. You know, it's warm out. We're releasing this thing. I don't know when we're releasing it, but hey, it's sprung. Spring is. It's my favorite dad joke. Spring has sprung. I got so excited. I wet my plants. I'll add cricket sound effects. She's not moving at all. Oh, okay. I can see. Yeah. I am sure a certain student that I say a dad joke to every day is not going to laugh at that. So, but I'll still use it. We are in the throes of spring, moving ourselves down into spring break. And speaking of springtime and a breath of fresh air, I have to jump into our guest for the day because I am very excited to have her on. And should we bring her in? Let's bring her in. Okay.
Bring her out.
Yeah, here we go. Hello, AnnaK.
Hello, everybody.
Read Away with Miss K. We are so excited to have you here. I have seen mucho of your content on Instagram. And please make sure that you follow Read Away with Miss K on Instagram for all the things, all the many things.
Yes.
But yeah, we love it. Thank you very much for joining us from the great state of Kentucky, which I have been to and I love so greatly.
I love me some Kentucky. I've been here for about 7 years now, and I love it. Getting lucky in Kentucky down here.
Oh, okay. Good stuff.
Yes.
As we were talking before we went on, I have my little space in my basement that has my little bourbon collection, which I have been to Kentucky and been to Louisville, and it's just a absolutely gorgeous area of the country. And I think in the end of May, I might be coming back maybe to visit a distillery with a friend of mine. I don't know what we're going to be doing, but
You'll have to tell me.
I will totally do that. Because I love downtown Louisville and all the greatness and bourbon tasting and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I'm probably the only person in the state of Kentucky that doesn't drink bourbon, but I'll go hang out.
I'm down.
You know,
so we are a delight. So that would be wonderful.
That's right.
So, hey, it's really great to have you. I'm glad we were able to connect and get you on. I would love to hear a little, because we were even talking before we got on here. I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey. And how you got into this whole gig and now you're this Instagram mogul with all this great content that we love. So we'd love to hear about your journey.
Yeah, well, I started, by the way, my dogs are in here. So if you hear them
Joe
can
has
you
dogs
hear them?
Also. Yeah. Sorry.
Normally it's mine. I have 2 golden retrievers that are normally around the kitchen by my feet. But, we're doing it live, people.
It's happening. I just got my stray, the second dog. She was a stray outside of the school I work at.
Aww.
And she's like adorable. She'll probably pop on at some point. Anytime on a podcast, she just has to be in the limelight with me. It's adorable. But
I love it.
She's rambunctious and she's fighting with my other dog. But anyway, so if you hear them, that's what's happening. But so I've been a teacher for 10 years. I started out in the Bronx teaching 11th grade English. And I thought it was like my dream job. I never thought that I would leave high school English. And when I moved to Kentucky to be closer to family, I was like, you know what? I got a middle school certification I'm going to try. And now I'll never go back to high school. I've been teaching middle school for 7 years now. I love it. It's chaotic. It's dramatic. There's tears. There's laughter. I can't get enough of it. I started the Instagram journey because I wanted to sell stuff on Teachers Pay Teachers, and somehow comedy got involved. And, now I work for board teachers and life has just been really fun. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bronx to Kentucky, like there is, I mean, I don't want to talk about culture shock, but there's a difference between those two places.
Yes.
So, and you said you moved down to Kentucky to be closer to family. So did you grow up in this East Coast area?
So I'm actually was born and raised in West Virginia. and ended up in New York because I went to SUNY New Paltz in upstate New York,
Okay.
and because I just wanted to go to a mountain town. I'm really outdoorsy, and I couldn't get a job in the Hudson Valley at all, and I love the Hudson Valley. And so I just went to the city and got a job there, ended up liking it, stayed longer than I anticipated, and then I was like, "Okay, it's time to go closer to home." So that's
Nice.
why Kentucky got involved. Yeah.
That is that is an interesting journey.
It is an interesting journey, it
I
is,
I
but
actually started out doing the opposite because I started out in this
really.
area, and I started out going to, West Virginia University. That's where I started.
Oh, you went to WVU?
Well, I started my career there. I got mono
He
after,
was
like
only there for a minute, and then
I
he
was
got
there for, like
mono
I
from
got mono
not
for,
kissing
like, 2
anybody.
weeks. It was not from kissing anyone, Jamie. Please stop
I
saying
said
that.
it was I'm sorry, I said it was from not kissing
Oh, yeah, I
anybody.
was not yeah, there was no there when the kids talk about Riz, I do not have it, okay? I will tell this story gladly. I once was talking to a girl at a party, we're, like, hanging out. She's like, we should
Yeah.
exchange numbers. We should hang out one time." And I said, "Why?" Yes, that is what I said. I asked the girl who was
Aw.
trying to get my number why she wanted my number. There's, like, if there was a Rizzometer, I would be at the very bottom.
Yeah.
I outkicked my coverage. Don't know how I got my wife. It's yeah.
Hey,
I'll own it.
a a
I,
lot
I,
of a lot of weird things happen at WVU, so it's
yeah.
okay.
So I started out down there. I wasn't there for very long. Took that as not the crazy religious person, but I was like, I took that as a sign. Is like, you know what? I'm probably not in the right spot. There's probably a reason
Yeah.
why this is happening. So I stayed local. I went to county college. I figured some stuff out, and then decided to go to. And I really wanted to go to TCNJ, which I did not get into when I graduated from high school because I didn't have the grades of the SAT scores. So I had to take another path in order to go in that direction. So happy to say that that's where I wound up and achieved that goal, which is great. But I really never moved anywhere.
Anna, did your parents take you to visit the college, like, all the way from West Virginia all the way up to
To New York,
upstate New York? Did you see it before you went? Yeah.
I went with an ex-boyfriend, actually. He thought he was gonna go with
Got it,
me,
okay.
but I gave him the boot. I was
Ah.
like, "No, I wanna do this on my own." So, we did the journey together, and I fell in love with the campus. I really just went because I wanted to get away and explore and see what was out there, so, I mean,
Yeah.
if you've been to New Paltz, New York, it's beautiful.
You'll
And you
have
were
to.
a traditional education major when you were there?
Yes.
Okay.
So my undergrad degree, which I got at Marshall University, which is in my hometown of West Virginia, um, is in English Lit, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. I was bartending, and I just
uh,
out of the blue was like, "I think I'll be a."
I did that too for a little while. Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, "You know what? I bet I'd be a good teacher because I was a tough student. Like, I wasn't super tough, but I was a chatty Cathy, and no matter where a teacher would move me, I wanted to make friends with the next person beside me, and I had ADHD. I was diagnosed when I was a teenager, which was rare at the time for a female to be diagnosed, and they just didn't know what to do with me. So I figured, well, let me become a teacher so I can help kids that are, a little rambunctious like me. So I kind of gravitate towards that kid, if you know what I mean. So, and I think it's because of how, my childhood was. So, yeah.
So
I also gravitate towards that kid, but I wasn't that kid. So I
Yeah.
always thought it was more of like an opposites attract kind of a thing, but yeah, that's a great perspective. So you started out teaching in the Bronx in high school,
Yeah.
and you were there for 3 years, and then you moved back. How far away from your like family and home, if they were in West Virginia, do you live from them now?
I live 3 hours away from my hometown, and it's a really easy drive. So I go to my hometown all the time, but I've actually convinced my mom to move here in Louisville,
Oh,
and some of her brothers live here. So actually, quite a bit of my family has moved here.
oh,
So
that's great.
nice.
okay.
Yeah.
So now you're in middle school. You've been in middle school for 7th grade for 7 years. All the grades, six,
I
seven,
teach
eight.
all I teach all 3 grades right now. I teach this really super awesome reading course. I only have kids for 9 weeks, and then I get a new bunch. I just got a new bunch this week. And it's basically just a crash course ELA class for all 3 grades. Now, I teach like 6th graders all at once, 7th graders all at once, and 8th graders all at once. Um, and it's amazing. I love it. And one of the reasons I suggested this class was because we have a mandated curriculum now for ELA in middle schools, and we never had that. And so I get to kind of circumvent that a little bit. And I'm more of a support for the ELA classes, and I see what they're doing, and then I loosely find short stories and more engaging texts that pair well with the mandated texts. So it's been super fun. I've been doing that for 2 years now.
Nice. So if there's 9, if you, is this your last group of the last 9 weeks? Is that,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do 4 terms. Yep. It's
Okay.
awesome.
We were
Yeah.
talking about how you get out, the end of May, and we get out June 57th.
We get out the
'cause
end of June,
the
but
end of
yeah.
June.
But we don't start again until after Labor Day. So,
Yes.
Right.
you know,
Get back
it's a
much
different
later.
schedule.
And not to get away from the teaching conversation, but like I know since you're down in Louisville, are you going? Have you been to the Derby? Are you going to this is like my bucket list sporting event. I have to do this at some point. But have you been, or are you planning on going at some point?
The first year I moved here, I bartended in a suite on Derby Day so I could watch the race, and
No
it was
crap.
awesome.
Must
Yeah.
have been.
There were 30 people in the suite, and I mean, it was totally fine for me to be gambling with them and making bets and stuff. It was a blast. But Derby week in Louisville, every day is a big deal that week. I mean, we wear hats to school. Math teachers are doing mathematical equations with betting and Derby stuff. And we have Derby parties at school. We don't have school the Friday before the Derby because
Oh,
so many
goodness.
people would just call off work so often because it's called Oaks Day, the day before Derby. So they just finally gave us the day off. They were like, forget it. Nobody's ever coming to work that day. So it's an awesome week. I if you can ever get to the Derby, I tell everybody it should be on your bucket list. It's an incredible experience. It really is so fun.
Yeah, the last few years I've been going to started in 2019 after my best friend's mom had passed away, and just like this podcast, a discussion was had over way too many drinks, and it was like we should go to the Indy 500. You should come out this year because we're out in New Jersey. And my buddy grew up out here, and he moved out to Indiana, and he's been going for every year and saying you got to come, you got to come, you got to come. So I was like, what, screw it, let's go. So we drove out there, and it like ever since 2019. Minus the COVID years, we've been heading out there. It is just an amazing event. And now I'm like, okay, what other things could I go to? Like, I'm probably never going to be able to afford a Super Bowl unless I, somehow magically win tickets. But heading to the Derby, I even have friends of mine that want to do it for sure. It's something that, got to do at least once. Got to get a big, get a fancy hat and a suit. Walk around with
everybody's super fancy, but everybody's just drinking massive amounts of bourbon. It's a good time.
Yes. I'm in.
My sister went years ago with her husband.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. I'm not really, that's not on my list of things, but I think Joe, you would be the perfect fit for the crowds and the fanfare and the drinking and I feel like that would be good for you today.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's also, we drove, the one time we went to Louisville, we actually were driving around and we drove to Churchill Downs. And it's just so weird how it's like, it is in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Like you literally like turn a corner, like you were going to your best friend's house, and then all of a sudden it's just there. Like it is the most bizarre thing to me. It's not off a highway, it's not near anything. It's
don't the people in that
middle.
area make a lot of money? Like they can rent out their driveways and their houses and all sorts of stuff. Right? Yeah.
Yep, they have parking spots and charge people. It isn't a bizarre neighborhood. It's just, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like a little underwhelmed. I was like, this is it? Like it's just right here. But it's beautiful inside. But it's in a bizarre place. And the U of L football stadium is right beside it too. So, that's usually where I park. So, but you have to walk a long time to get to Churchill Downs, but it's worth it.
So you're in a very interesting role in your school district too. I know you work a lot with new teachers that come into the profession. And we had talked and had a little bit of a discussion about, this is something that Jamie and I are passionate about. we've been doing this for 26 years, so I guess we're going to stick around for a little while.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well, but it's interesting. I'd love to know what the college student, goes and does all their student teaching and their practicum and all their stuff, and then they're in the classroom. Like, what are they not teaching them? Oh, there go the fireworks again.
Hey, that's fun.
This damn Mac. Whenever you do the double thumbs up, you get fireworks. Actually, if you do this, you get laser beams like you're at a rock show. So there you go.
That's such a cool party trick.
I know. It's there's actually one of the episodes I did it by accident, and I was like, oh my God, what was that? I freaked out.
Yeah, I would have too.
Yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, I'd love to know what are some of the things that new teachers that are coming into the classroom that you're seeing in Kentucky. Like, what are you seeing new teachers come into the classroom that they don't have? Like things that are not being taught to them that they have to kind of learn. The analogy I like to use is building the plane as we're flying it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, the number one problem, I think, for all the first years that I've worked with is by far classroom management. There's just no way that you can, I feel like you can give them tips and tricks and things to put in their toolbox, but it's so hard for a first year to come in and demand the attention of a classroom. It's just so hard for them. I think we have 3 first year teachers this year at our school, which is a lot because we don't have a lot of turnover at our school. We're just really lucky. I work at a great school, but all 3 of these first years are naturals. They're great. They're going to crush it in this career, but they struggle with classroom management every day. It's just, that's what I hear from them is I just wish they would listen to me. And that's probably the number one problem I see. And just time management too. How do I take the advice of 17 people that want to help me in this building, figure out how to take all these ideas that people are telling me, and then making it into a lesson plan in a timely fashion? I just see so many overwhelmed teachers. It's just, and it breaks my heart because I love this career too. I don't ever see myself leaving it. I love it so much. And I want to keep, younger teachers that are coming in and help them stay. I'm like, it's worth it. If you can just get 3 or 4 years under your belt, you will figure it out. But I feel like it does take 3 or 4 years to really feel confident as a teacher, which is a long time.
yeah.
You gotta really commit, so.
And the kids don't, for those of us that have been in it for a long time, they're not as, they just don't listen the same way. You can have the most, you could be the most experienced and really you could be an expert at classroom management. And there are still times when it's just why are you not listening? And that is so frustrating because they're really not great listeners in general as a generation, for several different reasons. And it doesn't matter how not boring you are or how, dynamic or all, whatever word you want to use to describe, how many transitions you have, that is for sure difficult. Do you think that you learned how to do that in college? To have good classroom management?
No, I had no clue what I was doing my first year.
Same.
Because I went to a teaching college and I 100% learned how to do it in college.
Really?
And I recently have had this conversation with more and more teachers who are like, I didn't learn anything in college. And I'm like,
nothing.
I can't believe that. I could never say that about school. I could never, the books that I had that I used, even throughout my first year teaching, I taught a 5th grade class of 23 kids. And I can't say for one second that I felt that I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard and it was overwhelming. But the things that I found to be overwhelming then are still overwhelming now. Like the photocopying and the paperwork and the grading and, the planning. And just because it's so much stuff to do, how do you find the time? But as far as how to actually execute it, I felt like I had so much that I learned in school. I just assume that's everyone's experience when you learn to be a teacher, but no.
I feel the same way as far as it's not that I didn't have classroom management because we did, but we focused so much on differentiating our lessons and making sure that we were coming up with varied activities. We really focused on the lesson plan and creating engaging activities that would then keep the students engaged with the material. And
Right.
that worked. And I tried, and I always have tried to let's throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. Like even now, I'm like, okay, you know what I haven't done in a while? We're reading a book. We're doing a literature circle. So we just finished the Supreme Court. There's a great book about Ruth Bader Ginsburg that's at a young reader's level. I said to my boss, I was like, because you have Jamie, I know you have the full version.
They ordered me the wrong book, but
Yeah, they ordered you the wrong book, but I was looking at it like we could read. No, but I was looking at it. I was looking at it like, okay, we could read this one. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I have some students with special needs in my room that are not going to be able to manage this vocabulary. It's like, I need the young readers edition. So my boss was like, yep, let's buy it. If you think it's going to work, let's do it. And I talked to the English teachers and I'm like, okay, literature circles, get crash course. Let's figure out how we're going to do this. Like I'm buying an audiobook. I'm finding, free stuff on Teachers Pay Teachers. Actually, that's not true. I found something on Teachers Pay Teachers. I asked somebody for a sample and she said, you know what? I'm just going to give you the whole thing for free, which I would have given her the money, but I just wanted to see are the activities that she's designed going to work for my special ed students? How much am I going to have to modify? How much do I need to differentiate? How can I keep everyone in the same spot? I want to challenge myself. But that is like, okay, let me try a varied and different activity. And I've tried all the things and the centers and the stations and the technology engaging stuff and doing a mock trial and a simulation and doing all the things. And I'm still boring. So no matter what, I can't change that because
You didn't ask me about literature circles. We're fighting.
Well, I
love it.
You and I have had a number of conversations before. And actually, remember there was one time.
My heart says literature circles. Do you know I used to do the PD for the district?
Yes, I know.
On how to teach literature circles?
Yes, I know. And I know you told me that, but I said, you know what? Let me ask my other 7th grade colleagues. So it's not always like, oh, Jamie and Joe are pairing up again and doing anything. I didn't want to because even
now I want to know what they do. I'll be interested to see. Maybe it's something different.
It's not really.
Why not?
Yeah, probably not. But no, I mean, I want to try something different. And I think that might be some of the best advice is you can't do the same thing each and every day, day in and day out. And like Jamie had just said, a lot of the things that were troublesome then are still troublesome now. Like literally this week, as we are recording this, I am doing a classroom norm reset. We are resetting the expectations. So yesterday, we literally practiced how to dismiss ourselves from the classroom because there's just been this little breakdown of kids that are ready to go, they are a sprinter in the 100-yard dash in the Olympics, and as soon as the bell rings, they are ready to race out of there. And I'm like, no, we are going to tuck our chair in. We're going to be kind to the people around us. We're going to reset our norms. We are going to reset putting our name on our paper. I swear to God, that's what I was doing today. I said, I'm going to hand you out the paper we're going to use tomorrow. We're going to put our first and last name on it, and then we're going to hand it back in. And the reason why we're doing that is because if we hand me a paper and it doesn't have a first and last name on it, I can't grade it. And that's a you problem, not a me problem. So we need to make sure that you get credit for your work. So that I think that's normal for them to feel that way. But I think the realistic thing is, that ain't going away. That's good.
Yeah. And I try to tell them, I'm like, it'll get better and you'll know what to do when it gets out of hand. You'll know to reset the norms. And I tell a lot of first year teachers, I'm like, you can't assume anything of these kids. Just assume they're at the very baseline and then you can work up. You have to remind them to write their name on their paper every single day those first couple of weeks. You have to remind them, how do you walk into a classroom appropriately? Because, middle schoolers love to hit the door frame. How do we walk into the classroom? How do we start class? How do we end class? I was like, these just little tiny routines will make the biggest difference in the world. And I said, I tell all first year teachers, once you have your first 5 minutes procedures and your last 5 minutes of class procedures, you'll have much better classroom management. But until you know what works for your teacher personality and how to get kids settled down those first 5 minutes and how to get them not to run out of the room the last 5 minutes, it's hard. So But it is. It's like it's always chaos. And one of the first year teachers saw me the other day walking down the hallway, and I'm like the most annoying, happy-go-lucky person at work. Like people probably want to punch me in the face because I'm always like, "Hey, everybody!" I'm
Oh,
that
so
person.
you are the captain of the hello, hey, how are you police? Is that you?
That's me.
Because
Hello.
because it really
Deputy reporting.
because
Yes.
it really grinds someone's gears,
It
my
does.
buddy over here, when
Drives me crazy.
you walk past.
Yeah, like, how do you work with somebody, you walk past them and you don't acknowledge them?
Yeah. I'm just
That's
like,
crazy.
"How are you?" It is crazy.
That's
I'm
crazy.
always saying
Talk about
hi,
norms, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
how do you identify the kids that are in your reading program? How are those
So,
children identified?
there really isn't. So there I've discussed with my administration whether or not we wanted it to be like a true reading intervention course where I'm
Mm,
working with lower level kids, but they really just wanted it to be um, kind of a mixed bag. So we haven't identified anybody. I'm just with the other related arts classes. So I'm with the gym teachers and the art teacher and the music teachers. I'm just a specials or related arts class. So they're on a rotation with me. There really is no rhyme or reason to it. The kids typically, I mean, they don't hate my class, I don't think. But they're always like, man, I got to take reading basically twice a day for 9 weeks. Um, but I always give them good reasons why they should have reading class twice. And I mean, most of my students are not on grade level when it comes to reading. I'd say the vast majority of my and so, I think it benefits everybody. We have discussed shifting it a little bit for just lower level readers, though, which I'd be totally fine with.
yeah.
I do think that was one thing that my school did teach me that I actually the one thing I think I learned was how to differentiate lesson plans. That was the one thing I walked away and was like, "Oh, I know how to vary my texts and come up with different activities and come up with choice boards for assessments." So I feel like I was always at those practical things. But yeah, so we'll
There's
see
just
what
so many things
happens
to
next year.
know.
I
Do you
know
get to, so Read Away with Miss K, how did that come up?
the name or just
The
the
name, I mean,
yeah.
the whole idea, you said it branched off from Your Teachers Pay Teachers, but where's Read Away with Miss K? You like the rhyme?
Yeah, I just was like, I thought it was really cute to rhyme. Whenever I was in the Bronx, I was called Miss K always. Now my students call me Miss Kowal, but I was Miss K for a long time. And whenever created my Teachers Pay Teachers store, I was like, I want a cute little name that rhymes. And Read Away with Miss K popped up. And I think it's cheesy and I love it so much 'cause I'm such a corny teacher. It fits my personality so perfectly. I'm cheesy. I make dad jokes all the time,
I wouldn't know
you
what you're
know?
talking about.
Yeah. Anytime a kid laughs at my joke, I was like, "You're getting an A today, buddy." Like, "Yeah." Like, so it just
There is,
that's
and
where it came from.
I joked about this just before. There was a girl, I will not name her. She is my white whale because every day last year I had her to the 7th grade. I would say a different dad joke, like 100 days, and I think I got her to laugh twice. So like when I see her now in the 8th grade in Miss Wanko's room, I try to like remember a joke and tell it to her, and it never happens.
No.
She's just stone faced. She's the toughest laugh in the universe. She is my Mount Everest. She is my white whale. I have
But
to
you got her to crack twice,
I
okay?
2 times. She's
That's
got a
a
look.
win.
She's got a younger sister, and I'm like, "You know what? Maybe I'll like you better if you laugh more at my jokes." I don't know.
There
We'll
you
figure
go.
it
We'll
out.
figure it out.
We shall. Um, in one of your recent posts, by the way, which I was like, I don't wanna use the term doom scrolling through, but I was just, like, scrolling through all of the responses. You
Yeah.
had asked, like, what are some of the reasons that you feel that, new teachers are leaving the profession? And this is something that Jamie and I are incredibly passionate about.
Yeah,
We would want to, but we can't fix all the things.
I know.
And every state has its challenges,
Right.
every down to
And
every
we also
town.
have, like, the most amount of open positions that
Oh,
we've
yeah.
ever had. So we cannot fill the jobs that are needed. And we work, I mean, in our state, there are over 600 school districts.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different places that people can choose to work or go to or any of the things. But we do work in one of the best paid school districts
Yeah.
in our state. So it's definitely, there can be a very wide range. I mean, just like 45 minutes from here, someone might make like $35,000 less than what we do,
Yeah.
and there's still, so it's like a drivable thing. And there's still, even in our district, so many open positions. So you're not seeing the same kind of a thing where you
Oh,
are.
no, we're struggling. We're struggling a lot. So I work. Can you hear my dog squeaky
They're so
toy?
cute.
I
Yeah.
And
might have to get him. Is it too loud?
no, you're fine. Anna's playing with a squeaky toy. It's okay. I
I'm
mean, she did.
so sorry.
Yeah, she did
She
say she had.
won't.
It's her fidget.
She did say she had
It's
ADHD. So maybe you need to
yeah.
like get your squeezy toy.
Doing it with my feet underneath
Yeah.
the desk.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah. So I work in the largest district in Kentucky, and we have 100,000 students, and most schools are all Title I schools, and we also we pay way more than any other district in the entire state. And we also are struggling to fill positions. Luckily, at my school, we don't have that problem because we're just such a great little, like, we're a diamond in the rough. I don't know. We're a Title I school, but we all return year after year. And I think that's what makes a strong school is people on the same rhythm and have the same expectations, but all around us. I mean, there's so many
Can you tie
schools
that
that
to your admin at all?
I think so. Yeah, I think so because we're supported, and if we're going to kick a kid out of class, like which is obviously the last resort, but if it happens, we're supported.
Mhm.
And I know that's not the case. Like I think Read Away with Miss K, I've just seen so much cuz I doom scroll and read comments too, and it breaks my heart to see
Yeah.
so many problems, and one of them being not having a supportive admin. And just not, and the admin not knowing what to do either. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, the district won't do anything about these, repeat offenders, and I don't, and so they're kind of at a loss too. I think discipline and not knowing um what to do with discipline and not being supported with it is a big issue that I think teachers are seeing.
Yeah.
I don't see a major shift in my 10 years. I don't know if you guys have seen a shift in like them being more lax with kids, but I've heard a lot of that
Oh, yes.
on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yes.
there's an intersection of like the kids' expectations have changed, and which we're, and I don't know, it all trickles down, right?
And
It's like,
parenting has changed.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a it's a trickle down economics thing, right? It's
Yeah.
it
It's not
starts,
just one, right, it's not just one
Right.
thing,
yeah,
it's lots of
Yeah.
different factors,
but
yeah.
when the state is coming down on a superintendent because they have too many students that are
Right.
suspended, and then that goes to the building principals that, well, we have to find different intervention techniques that we're
Right.
gonna use to interact and impact those students in a different way besides suspensions, because suspensions are just predictors of more suspensions. Because if you really think about it, the kids that keep getting suspended are the same kids that get suspended all the time. At least that,
Yeah.
I mean, at least
Yeah.
that's the way it's been
That's
in
the
my career.
pattern.
You
Yeah.
get that one outlier that every once in a while, this kid gets in a
Right.
fight, this one says something they weren't supposed to, but for the most part, those kids learn, "Ugh, I shouldn't have done that," and then they
Right.
don't do that again.
Right.
But there are certain kids we have that will just repeatedly do the same behavior over and
Yeah.
over and over, and
Yeah.
what I've struggled with is, why is there no, like, "Okay, we need to intervene and have the child study team come in and do a behavior analysis and a behavior plan for this kid," and I realize that
Yeah.
would be a lot of kids, but, like,
Yeah.
they're affecting the learning of so many other kids in the classroom.
Yeah.
It's not just about pay a lot of the time. A lot of people are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
the teachers aren't paid enough," and I
I
don't think
don't
that.
think that's the number one factor. I
No.
really don't. I
Yeah.
used to think that, but I really don't think that anymore. I think a lot, I mean, unions are fighting. I've gotten a 14% raise over the past 2 or 3 years because of my union fighting for a raise, and we already were decently paid, I think, as teachers, compared to everybody else in our state. It's rare. They always say that I'm overworked and underpaid. That phrase happens a lot, but I never hear like all I care about is the money. It's
No.
rarely that. Yeah, it's rarely that.
No.
Yeah.
But these are tough questions. It's like, yes, we want to get these behavior plans ready for all these kids, but I think there's just no one size fits all answer to the discipline issue. And I think that's what I see a lot of on social media is, yeah, I quit last year because I just couldn't handle the behaviors anymore. Or a lot of people talk about parents and how they support their kids no matter what. Like when my mom got a phone call, she'd be like, "Was Anna talking again? Okay. Well, we're going to take away the Xbox this time or something," because it was before phones, but now it's an argument and the parents are wanting to side with their students. So that is a change for sure.
I always laugh when I see like the meme and it's like, I never learned that in school. And then it says like, yes, you did, but you were talking.
Yeah.
And that is like, that is always like, yep, probably that's me.
Yep.
But yes, and the same thing. Yeah. I mean, I was like very afraid to get in trouble at home. So I really didn't push it too much, but it's just one of those things that the like lack of support or even just to have someone say, I know that you're struggling with this student. I know that you're trying everything that you can possibly do. And I really, I see you. I think
Yeah.
that's also a problem is that like people just really, nobody wants to feel like they are not doing a good job at their job when they're working so hard. And to even just hear like, look, I get it. And this is a really tough case. And if you need to come in and talk to me and tell me and we'll work through it, it can just be such a relief even to hear that someone is on your side, even if,
Yeah.
for the greater good, no one can fix it, so to speak.
Yeah.
It is that feeling of support that's so important.
I always felt like, and one of the things I remember is like in regards to lecture and things that I learned in college, like telling isn't teaching, right? Like we can't just tell kids information and expect them to regurgitate it. But I feel that that works the same way for the teacher in a classroom. Like we can't just point out like, oh, here's the thing. Like we need to do this. You need to be more engaging. Like the kids are bored. They don't like this. They don't like that. But and Jamie, we've talked about this, and you've actually mentioned it. I was like, okay, so model it. What should it look like? Give me examples. Give me things that I can and should do, that are gonna make my like, what how should this look? It's
Yeah.
like, "Well, just fix it." It's like, okay, well, if you told me, like, my car was broken and you said, "Just fix it," we ain't going anywhere
Right.
because
Or ask the kids.
Yeah.
I feel like kids are so honest. If you ask the kids, tell me the last, in the last, just even this school year, 5 things that you did and that you genuinely enjoyed in an academic class, right? Not
Mhm.
gym. Sorry, gym. We love you, but no, right? Because everybody can't say, oh, my favorite subject is gym, but in an academic class, and then share those responses with all of the teachers, then it gives you a better idea of
Yeah.
what it is that sort of lit them up and sparked them to, to be more interested or whatever that might be.
Yeah. I always
Yeah.
make my students right now I'm averaging about 4 short stories that we dive into in our 9-week term, and I make them rate them at the end of the term and say, what
Mm,
was your favorite? What was your least favorite? And I usually eliminate the least favorite one
mm.
because I'm like, well, you know what? They didn't like this one. So, and that helps me because, they get bored. Reading can be super boring. And I just wanted that. So I do tell first years a lot, like, just talk to the kids. Like, they will tell you.
Oh, yeah.
But you're so right. Like, you just want to hear something positive from an adult because we're in front of 30 little judges. They're just judging us and telling us how lame we are and
Oh,
we're cringe.
they're the most judgy, especially the middle school kids.
Oh, they're
I saw a post today and I think she said it was a 4th grade class, and this like, "Yeah, today I stood in front of my class and I was like, oh, I think I put my contacts in wrong." And one of my students goes, "Oh, it's always something with you." And I just I just thought that was like the funniest thing because,
it's
we
so
all know.
cute.
Yeah.
Confession, the other day, I went to get a spray tan, with my friend. It was like this fundraiser thing and,
Wait, what?
like
What?
I know.
When
Shout
did
out.
this
You didn't
happen?
notice. Thanks a lot.
What?
Tinted by Tiffany. Shout out Tiffany, a local mom to us here in our town. But so she, another teacher who has to have another, a side gig. Her side
Yeah,
gig is spray
yeah,
tans in her basement, right? So
yeah.
I go and I actually have to tell you that I like true confessions of a teacher. I thought, oh God, if this doesn't go well, they're all gonna tell me, right? Like, what's
Yes,
wrong with
yes,
you? What'd you
yes,
do? What'd you
yes.
do? You know, it's
Miss, why are you orange?
yes,
Yeah,
so many,
yeah.
you know, and I was like, oh gosh, please let this go well. And yes, you know,
So great. I
Well,
remember I used to go get my hair cut. I used to sit down and the girl I got to know, it was years ago. I said, yeah, just don't make me look stupid. I don't want my students to make fun of me. That's all I used, yeah. Because
there's
they're like,
nothing worse
nothing worse.
than like
yeah,
a 12-year-old making fun of you. I'm like, you're 12, sit down. Like,
yeah.
I had a girl about 2 or 3 weeks ago. She's like, whole term, me and this other girl, we've been talking about your outfits every single day, and they're always cute, but there's always one little thing wrong with it. And today it's your shoes. And I was like, oh, okay, it's my shoes today. She's like, we hate them. I was like, okay.
Oh, okay.
She's like, you're just almost so close, but you
Mm.
just never quite land it. And I was like, okay, that's great. I'm so glad that
Yeah,
you
that
talk
is
behind my back
fantastic.
all day. Yeah. But it was honestly so cute. I was like,
God.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, you know, maybe one day you'll be, my personal shopper and you can
yeah.
come in and,
Yes.
give me consultations on all my outfits.
Yes.
Yeah,
Goodness,
the
love it.
the
Come hang
kids,
out with
right?
me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, when you buy most of your clothes at the club, which would be Costco, you
Yeah.
again, the drip does not it's just not like this literally this sweatshirt I got from Costco, okay? It's my
I
Hurley
love it.
sweatshirt that I got for $7. So, that's
Good
how it
deal.
That's
goes.
a great deal.
I know,
I
'cause
know.
listen, my wife is upstairs. She's the one that's balling out of control with
Great.
the fancy shoes here and there.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm not trying to
It's
say
true.
anything bad about it.
Yeah.
She deserves to treat herself.
Yes.
Treat yourself.
Yes.
Expensive shoes.
It's true.
So closing out on that post that we were discussing, are
Oh,
there
yeah.
any?
Yeah.
Are there any?
Wait a second.
Sure.
Wait, I have one other thing I want to ask you about reading before, because
Oh, sure.
I'm like I'm a like former language arts teacher and ran a parent teacher student book club for 20 years. We
That's
would
so fun.
Isn't
Yep.
it
I love
it's the
that.
best. We called it book buffet. We would, pick the book, then everyone had about a month to read it, and then we
I
would
like
meet,
read and feed. It was read and feed.
read
I
and
like
feed.
that
We
one.
would
Yeah.
have dinner
Love
together. Yeah,
that.
book buffet. We'd have dinner together. We would have crafts and we would make something. We'd answer some questions. We'd give away some prizes. We would,
That's so
book
cool.
talk the next book, and then we would do that about 4 times a year, and it was like such a great way to connect with families and share our love of reading. So anytime the kids want to talk about anything with books, hook me. I'm like immediately like throw away anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm supposed to be doing, and like, yes, let's talk. But recently the kids were all talking about, there's a play about Anne Frank. So in 8th grade, they cover Anne Frank,
Yeah.
and it's in their literature textbook. And
Okay.
I was beyond thrilled to talk to them. And I teach 4 classes of 8th grade. So the wave of these kids coming throughout the day to want to like talk about. So apparently, like in the annex, you're familiar with Anne Frank, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently they're in the annex, and in this adaptation of what happened up there, the other family, so Anne's, not Anne's mom, the other wife of the other, was like trying to shame her husband, according to the kids. I had to go to some of the language arts teachers. Not only was she flirting with Mr. Frank, she like was lifting her skirt up above her knee, and then she
Oh.
kissed him on the lips in front of his wife. But when I tell you that I was like, this is, even if this isn't like real, they were so into it
Mhm.
that
Yes.
it was, and me too. I'm like, I need a copy of this. Sounds amazing.
I know. I'm like, wait,
I didn't
what?
know what was going on in the attic. Like, this is wild stuff. But so like those kinds of things when you're reading, I know. So it's like, look into that, because
I'm gonna look that up.
add that to the list.
Side note, real fast. Every time I taught Fences by August Wilson, I taught that in the 11th grade while I was in the Bronx. Kids would throw the book when they found out that the main character was cheating on his wife. They would be like, and just like throw it down on the ground. The amount of books that had been thrown, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing in the world."
I know,
to
that's
see
so
a
awesome,
kid.
though.
It's-
Yeah.
there's
So
nothing
awesome.
better. For a
Yeah.
reading teacher, there's nothing better
My
than that.
my daughter, literally yesterday, was like, she texted us, said she was like, "Oh, can I go to the mall at 9:30 on Monday because they're doing a Hunger Games thing?" I swear we thought she was going to the movies. And my wife and I are like, "Oh my God." And it's 9:30, and like it's like 8:45, and I'm on the couch, and I'm done. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't believe she's going out at 9:30. And then I was like, "Oh, what time is the movie?" She's like, "I'm not going to the movies. I'm going to Barnes and Noble. We're going to the bookstore." She went to the bookstore for like a scavenger hunt and a book thing for like the midnight release of the new Hunger Games book. And I was like, oh my God, you little book nerd. I love you. You're amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love that so much.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, look, I'm sorry,
you were saying we're going to ask a different question, Joe.
Well, I was, but you know what? We're running short on our time.
Okay.
Ms. Read Away with Ms. K. I mean, I don't want to like, put you on the spot on an episode, but like you absolutely have to come on this podcast again so we could talk about all the things.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but all of our very dedicated listeners are definitely going to want to hear from you again.
I'm so excited. I would love to come back. I love hanging out. I love I love being a teacher so much. I love talking about it and meeting other teachers. There's nothing better. And finding other people that really love it, because there are so many people that don't love it right now. So it's nice to talk to two people that love it. So cool. I would love to come back.
Anna, I appreciate you for, taking the time to be on here. And Jamie, I appreciate you, friend.
Joe, Anna, I appreciate both of you. I appreciate the chat with anyone whose name has read in it, because there's nothing better than the reading.
Yes, that's right.
Nothing better.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We will see you. We'll see everybody next time on the Balancing Act podcast.
Bye.
Look for the Balancing Act podcast every week on your favorite podcast platform. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Thank you for being a part of our audience. We appreciate you.